Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers. My name is Sam Basher.
And I'm DJ Woldridge.
And we're about to do a deep dive review into the newest episode of Doom Patrol. Check this out. Boom. That's an asset.
In case you were wondering.
Oh,
yeah.
very cool. Let's talk about Season 1, Episode 8, Danny Patrol. Oh my goodness, gang. I'm so happy. It's Danny the Street, and he's alive. Johnny Fives is alive. I'm so excited.
They are alive.
They are alive. Danny's alive.
Danny's alive.
There you go. A sentient, genderqueer, teleporting street named Danny, who is being hunted by the secret Bureau of Normalcy, needs help from Niles, but gets Vic and Larry instead. That's a quickie synopsis. This is out on the DC Universe app as we speak, so if you have that, make sure you go watch it. We don't want spoilers. We're doing spoilers right now.
Exactly.
We don't want to spoil it for you. It's such a treat.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, seriously. Just go watch it.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. It's so good.
It's a delight.
Like you said on our Super TV show, there's like deals and stuff right now. You can jump in.
They just added 20,000 comics.
It's totally worth it. Just for this.
Just for this.
Just for this.
And I did take a look at their new spread.
Yeah.
And it's pretty dang neat. But yes, let's hop into this. So thus far, the first 7 episodes have been just a delight.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I'm really on board with this show. And this episode kind of I didn't need solidification of that fact that I'm on board with this. But you open this episode, spoiler filled by the way.
Yeah.
Again. We open on Danny the Street, and Danny talks to people.
Yeah.
Danny doesn't like. Danny doesn't like make a mouth out of like leaves or whatever.
Yeah.
He writes things in the air or on like the signs of buildings or something like that. And he talks, and he's a living thing that teleports around. And he is genderqueer, so you know I'm gonna try to do my best to use the right pronouns here.
Because I believe we meet Morley Corrupt, who I love. I hope she enters into the pantheon of like Ezekiel the Cockroach and other just recurring characters that pop in, more positive than the other recurring ones. Yeah. But we meet her, and I think she explains that pronouns like they and stuff like that is the preferred for Danny.
So I'll be doing my best with that.
Yeah.
But yes, we meet Danny, and they're the best. They're the best. And the Bureau of Normalcy is a full, like, this is comic book stuff, but the way that they present it is better than, I think the pitch of it when you hear it is like,
Yeah.
But then when you see how they've treated Larry, you're like, oh, you're actually awful. Like, you're genuinely a big threat.
This is a big Larry episode. We got, so the characters that go to help Danny, which by the way, if you ever need my help, please send me a cake. That's a great way to call for my aid. Larry and Vic come to help, and this is primarily a Larry-centric plot line.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's dealt with the Bureau of Normalcy before.
And we got a hint of that in the Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
When we saw his worst nightmare of Needle Finger Man.
And I'm still wondering if, like, that could just be dream metaphor stuff, but with this show, it could also be a man with needles for fingers.
We have to wait and see, because he does get tortured in pretty severe ways. And we also see the effects of having that entity inside of him, where like temperatures don't really affect him. I mean, he's not looking like he's doing too well, but he's not dying, so he's able to survive that. Also, seeing how they provoke the entity out and see it for the first time, how he sees it for the first time. Yeah. What a nightmare! Imagine like when you if you found out you sleptwalk, but instead of sleepwalking, like you become a superhero.
Or whatever it is.
Whatever it is. It's bad news bears. But yes, we get to focus on Vic and Larry in this episode and them discovering Danny, because it's great that like Niles has all they are secrets, but also he's just lived a long time. He's met a lot of characters, and Danny's the biggest character of them all.
It's basically if you had
physically.
if you had James Bond or whatever pulp adventurer that had just been around since then to now, they'd have picked up some stories. You know what I mean? And so I like that. And it's still so interesting to me how everybody loves Niles. It's just because there's people like that in life. People like that everybody loves, but they're really not that great a person. They're likable, but if you break it down, it's like they're not that good a person.
Or they're really well-meaning. They'll help you move, but sometimes they break a really important thing that you own, and they're like, well, at least he helped me move.
Yeah.
9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Take it on the chin. No, I totally agree. And also, we don't know how Danny and Niles know each other.
We do not.
But I do like, they will save it for another time. Oh, that means Danny's coming back. Oh my God.
Danny should 100% come back.
I don't know how.
Danny and Morally Corrupt.
Oh my God, it's the best.
I was surprised. We talked about this before air. I was surprised that I didn't pick up on who Morally Corrupt was like right off the bat.
No, they did a really good job. Yeah. Like maybe we're just not in that. Like I'll be honest, I have not watched Drag Race. I know it's a great show. I have never watched it, so I'm not looking at people pre and post like doing their makeup and everything. Yeah. So I missed it. So and also his cadence changed in his voice or her voice, and so. They did a good job of revealing that. I was genuinely surprised, and I like the way that they described it. It was just the perfect. It's not utopia. It was just accepting. It was just that you could, if you wanted to be in a place of people that were accepting and willing to work together to keep Danny alive, which we find out that's how Danny stays alive.
Yeah, the one we meet the Perpetual Cafe. What's the name? Peeping Tom's
Perpetual Cabaret.
Cabaret. And it was one of those like, and she's like, we need to keep the party alive or Danny dies. What?
Hey, if you do one show a night, then you're good to go.
Are you Danny's drugs? Like what? It's perpetual.
It's perpetual.
It's always. So it's not just one show a night. It's all the time.
Yeah, maybe.
And then switch out people.
That's true. Everyone has to go up there and do karaoke.
Hey, listen, if they're happy and they feel accepted, good for them. I don't know if I could hang, but I'm happy for y'all.
If that's your whole life,
exactly.
Then. And they're happy with it, so you do you. And I love that that's the idea of Danny. I love the idea that in most comic interpretations, Danny's just like, in my introduction to him, where I was very hard for me to understand what in the world I was looking at. Yeah. It was Teen Titans and the New 52, which, by the way, is real rough. Being full candid, I read the whole thing, and that's when I didn't know how to stop reading something. I had completionist.
You have to learn. Sometimes you just have to learn how to bail. It's a hard lesson. We've all been there.
Because you want to like Teen Titans are fun. I want to read them, and you're like, wow, none of these are the Teen Titans I know.
And also, no matter how into comics you get, you'll still find yourself like, yeah, I didn't need to pick all that up.
And then I was done, and I was like, why did I do that? Anywho, Danny was introduced in there, and it was just like a thing. He's a thing or a person, or you're like, he's alive, but also it's kind of like they're the transportation for the Teen Titans, which I'm like, that's kind of fun. Yeah. But then they abandoned that really quick, and I'm like, that's a bummer, Danny. That was cool. I like that idea. But in this, the idea of him maybe just manifesting in a neighborhood that was more accepting, and now some magical entity or something allows him to teleport anywhere to pick up more people, and he has like a consciousness or a brain or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, which is so cool that we can accept that so quickly. It's like he's magic or not or whatever. It doesn't matter.
It is. I mentioned this on the Super TV. It's weird to have an episode of a show where they can introduce a sentient street, and it feels like a more conventional episode of that show. It's like, hey, because this feels kind of like the, hey, learn to love yourself, accept yourself. I will say where it did get me, and we haven't even talked about Jane yet, but there's a sequence where Larry is very much still, and it's crazy how invested I am in Larry and how much I really like Larry as a character and how inactive most of him is. I just want to bail, which is so annoying. It was one of the few things that really dragged down Luke Cage, especially season 1, when he's just like, I don't want to help. You know what I mean? Larry just doesn't want it, and there's a moment where it looks like he's opening up. He's suddenly, it feels like the street's magic's worked on him, and he's looking like, we got Matt Bowman in there. He's singing. It intercuts with Robot Man's being bummed out, and this kid dressed in this awesome robot costume comes up and starts breakdancing and doing the robot with him, which is amazing. And it's just a wonderful, beautiful, like, it says a lot about these characters and who they are and what they're trying to figure out about themselves, and they're doing it through song and music. And then it is revealed that this is all kind of in Larry's head, and he's still not participating, and it's heartbreaking. Yeah,
it is the best exploration of someone who sits on the sidelines like that. That like I liked his reasoning to Vic, where he's like, I don't care what you think, because I'm done with people telling me how I'm supposed to feel in these situations. I understand that. And you're defensive and you're scared. Yeah. Most of all, you're scared. Yeah. And because basically anytime you tried to do something that was for you and it was selfish, your life ended up hurting that. Like the way your decisions hurt people more than it would normally for a normal person. Yeah. Because you literally became just like a microwave, and you have to share your body with an alien.
And it's also, you're not like Robot Man, where your gifts suddenly give you the ability to do stuff that thing does, and you don't get to tell it when it does its thing. You know what I mean?
this scene, it got me choked up. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It was seeing him. It really hurt that it wasn't real. It really genuinely hurt that it wasn't. But I also am like, at first I was like, hey, come on, we can see him grow. It's like, that was a little too much. It was a little too big for what it was. I love though seeing Danny being like, I got you. It's fine. Like, he like, hey, maybe he can't sing, but Danny made it so it sounded like he could sing, and everyone like was on board with it.
Implied later that maybe he in real life he doesn't have much of a singing voice,
which I love that, and it's great. And they let him show who he is.
Yeah.
So maybe that like Morally Corrupt might not look the way that she does. Maybe she does look more like. I think it's.
I don't remember her agent name.
Her agent name, but maybe that's what she looks like more often.
By the way, my favorite little. It's not even a joke. Just a nice little like subversive whatever is the menswear is all the dresses and everything. It's like that's cool. Like. A lot of neat, cool touches. I'm hoping next time Danny shows up more communicating with stuff like the comic, like using the environment to convey ideas. Because just this idea of a street that can decide the way it presents itself and conveys information. I felt like that was a moment where the show's budget couldn't quite fully realize that idea. And I'm hoping that it keeps doing well and they're allowed to do more.
I love the steam. That was great.
Yeah.
The best, my personal favorite is the sign going across where it's like, where are you from? And it's just like, it's just asking. It's just like, hey, what are you doing? And I thought that was very sweet.
Yeah.
Danny has a sweetness to him. And this dance scene specifically, it was a moment where I was able to finally connect with, like, because last episode during Therapy Patrol, when we learn more about Larry, you understand that like he knows he's done things that are unbelievably selfish and has messed up people's lives because of it, because they chose to be with him and he chose to, like, he couldn't be who he fully wanted to be, and that ended up hurting people, and that's awful. And like they actually, this show has done that story, that dated like someone who is LGBT, like they did this the best out of any show I've watched. Like there's definitely other shows out there that dealt with LGBT
you haven't watched
issues that I have not watched, but for me, this has been the best. And I love the idea. It's like he knows that he's bad, so you can acknowledge that as the viewer, but you can still like him because he knows that he wants to be better. And that's what we want as our characters. We want them to grow and change. And in this, it was just a great moment of like, man, it's okay. Like, it's okay. You can take a breath. Like, I know your life is hell. Whenever you go to sleep, you dream of everyone that you've ever hurt burning. But like maybe for a second, for like literally the length of one song, you can feel okay. And that got me really made me choke up. Like I wasn't like crying. I cried everything. I was just who I am. I love it. It's great. It makes me feel good. You know that feeling after a long cry when you go, you're like, oh my God, the best breath I've ever had. But it wasn't like that with this episode. I just enjoyed how the writers conveyed Larry accepting his sexuality and also the entity too, which that is a very cool parallel that they have.
I'm also wondering if we're getting the seeds of, the way I took when Niles was speaking to the entity, and the way Larry took it as well, is that the entity was trying to convey that being with Larry was torture.
Yes.
And Larry took it very personally, because it appears like he takes a lot of things personally, which I relate to. But he might have been referring to the literal torture that they went through because of their situation. It might have nothing. The entity might be fine with Larry.
He might hate that, like Larry hates him. He might hate that.
Yeah.
It seems like it has emotions. It gets angry.
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
Man, the characterization in the show is really cool, and that's something like it's not necessarily great to like throw shade at another show or praise another show, but I liked the way they did this dance sequence because it meant something to these characters and who they were, as opposed to something like Umbrella Academy in its first episode where it had characters dance because it was quirky, and you know what I mean. Like it wasn't. And to be fair, there's the difference between episode 1 and episode 8. You know what I mean? But I liked that I'm very happy that the show doesn't seem to do things just to be weird or just to be quirky. It just is weird. It's just a weird show.
It is a weird world.
Yeah.
And it behaves as such.
And I love that they don't try and pretend like the Justice League and stuff doesn't exist. They just inhabit this weird pocket where these characters don't, like, if this Cyborg does eventually join the Justice League, he's going to have some crazy stories about his time with Doom Patrol.
And he's probably might be more capable than a lot of the other Justice League members out there.
Just
like
because
he's gone through so much more, like so much more stuff.
Remember the scene in Avengers when they're throwing out references and they throw out Wizard of Oz and Cap's like, I know that one. I could just imagine the Justice League dealing like, well, we're dealing with this type of extra dimensional whatever. And Cyborg's like, nah, I got this. Hold on.
I got this. You need like a dog. You need a dog but you also need like a certain kind of. I know a wizard. We can get this guy on it. Don't worry. I'll call him up.
Constantine, nah, he's not gonna be able to deal with this.
Willoughby Kipling. Yes,
he's the one. But the other aspect of this episode that we should touch on is Jane. We meet Karen.
Karen is the aspect of Jane that loves 90s rom-com movies, and it manifested because of it. And all of the tropes and the kitschiness and everything that come along with that. Everything like she does, they nail every trope that's in a rom-com where it's like, hey, we're not supposed to be together, but we gotta be. And she's like quirky and she trips and falls in mud, and like he falls in love with that. But I love for a second you do get to see him honestly reacting to Karen in the beginning, where it's like, almost, oh my god,
panic attack. Like,
he was in bed for 6 months after she last left. It's like a drug.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. She scares me the most out of all the personalities because you got the son with the head
or words that are knives.
Words that are knives. Love that. But this is what if somebody could, against your will, trap you in a rom-com movie? That's terrifying. And all those that you love. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. And I like that Hammerhead. It's my favorite Hammerhead moment when she comes out for a minute and she's grabbing everything from the fridge like, hey, you need to dial this back right now or else it's really going to spiral out of hand.
And I love that Karen thinks that her and Rita are friends because in a rom-com you got to have your gal pals.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to have your gal pals like, oh, we're drinking and having fun and we're planning the wedding and everything.
What does Rita say? It's like, I don't know what you're saying, but it seems like youthful and annoying. It was a good Rita episode too.
And Karen being really shitty to Rita, like being very honest to her. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just kidding. Like, it's all that cattiness that you get in those movies. And Diane Guerrera, correct? Yeah, she did a great job. She did an amazing job in this. And also Cliff trying to talk to her because he messed up, but also that doesn't mean you get the right to go and fix that immediately because you did say some pretty awful stuff.
In Cliff's defense, he did have a rat inside him rewiring his system.
True, but she doesn't know that. And in the vacuum of her point of view of it, she doesn't have to run back to let Cliff get off the hook for that.
And we also don't know that that's not how Cliff was feeling. I'm just saying, rat in your system, rewiring stuff. That's a lot to go. Cliff's having a lot to go through because he wants to be. Can you sanitize it? Can you
just double check. Yeah, like kind of shake me out or something. Yeah, like
Have you ever had a rat go inside your system? No. What are you talking about?
But hey, we welded that hole up, so no more rats in the system. Hopefully. Hey, fingers crossed. But I liked him having to kind of like sit and reconcile, and a lot of flash dance jokes, which are great. He even says like, yeah, every night I dream of this actress, and I looked up, it's like, oh, it's a star of flash dance. That's great. And he does dance like him and the kidder. It has such a good rapport. This was a good example a good showcase for me of how good Brendan Fraser does as a voice actor for this role
100%.
And how well him and the actor playing Robotman on screen, how in sync they are.
100%.
This was a good episode for that. I love that he can't get whammied by which is my favorite.
Of course not. He doesn't even have eyes.
He can't. He's got a brain up there in nutrient sacks, whatever. Like they give him make sure his brain don't deteriorate, but it's still not great. Still not good. But Karen snapping sometimes and Hammerhead coming out. The tease though for the next episode of I'm guessing they're gonna have to go to the underground. That's what I'm getting at. And they're gonna have to figure out why no one's in control of Jane.
Oh, which might mean we get to know more about Jane's history, which could be challenging.
This could be harrowing. I mean, this is where you throw in a weird thing or two. Like we're gonna meet some weird personalities to kind of line the halls of the underground, but it's gonna be rough.
Agreed. I'm also nervous about learning more about her dad.
It's gonna
and
be
how
rough.
The show handles that.
It's handled a lot of really harrowing things pretty well so far. So I trust it. I trust it enough. But I am with you on being nervous about it. Hey, props to really quick. Throw it up one more time. The wig department, because like Legends of Tomorrow and other CW/DC shows that we watch, sometimes the wigs are they're rough. And I will say that the Ravens wig in Titans was not my personal favorite. Also Dawn. Dove, whatever. It was rough for me. But this is a good wig. It was weird to dye your eyebrows. I get why you did it to kind of just paint the whole picture.
Yeah.
I was confused, and I finally noticed the hammerhead tattoo like right here.
Yeah.
You've said it, and I feel like I vaguely remember it.
I feel like they just kind of introduced it this past episode, the last episode.
Yeah. I think it's been there before. I think it's been there.
No, I'll just have to go back and rewatch it to find out.
It's the worst.
Oh no.
I can't wait for more personalities. I want to know more about them, and I like this is a good way to kind of stall dealing with Mr. Nobody. I like the way they're holding off on that, and also you don't need to show Niles all the time. You don't need to show Mr. Nobody the whole time, because it's these people that are interacting
100%,
and they do the writing is so strong for these characters and how they're deciding to deal with these different situations, with Danny that being hunted by the Bureau of Normalcy, which genuinely felt scary when also great reveal where the tactical team shows up, guy walks forward and they're gone instantly. You didn't notice that was such a good reveal, even though he is looking past them. Yeah. So he should see that it's now not in the city anymore. But I love that, and I love seeing how they dealt with that one guy.
I also liked more the Crow beating the shit out of
that. That's what I'm talking about.
Pretty great. That was pretty great.
And Vic and Larry, they stand back. They let Morally Corrupt deal with it, and I like that she's taken that name, and that's who she is. Yeah. That's how she viewed herself. Whatever feeling she had as being morally corrupt, and she owns that now. She wears it like a badge of honor, and that's. Oh man, I am getting emotional. That's awesome.
Also, another good nod to, seriously, how do you stop Mr. Nobody? Like Danny's like, yeah, whatever I can do. Oh, it's Mr. Nobody. Sorry, I gotta
protect these people.
Oh, I can't.
I did like the reveal where it's like on the cake it has the map. It's like, this is where Danny Street is. Like, no, it's not. There's no Danny Street there, and it's no, he's there. Yeah, or they're there. They're
there. So what would you rate this episode out of 10 streets?
Oh, honestly, out of 10 streets, 9 out of 10 streets. I give that for every episode. I may have given one episode an 8.5. Yeah. But I don't know. Like they'd have to do a really piss poor job on this for me to give it a lower grade. Honestly, I am so on board with all of this. The way they're really making Jane's character work more for me now, and I understand. I get it. And I like the internal struggle that you're seeing, because now that, not that they're at odds, but they're just like, can we work cohesively just a little bit? It's like, you don't have to like one over the other. It's like, you can enjoy all the different parts of her, but it's like they need to focus. They don't need to, one person doesn't need to be in control, but everyone needs to be on the same page. Yep. And that's tough, because they all have individual needs. Yeah.
Ask Danny. They figured it out somehow. They got all the people on the same page.
And I love the idea, like, people can leave Danny Street if they want to. Like, they don't have to be there. But, like, if you do want a place to be happy and accepted, that's what Danny is. That's what Danny's all about. Yeah. And I love that. I love it so much. It's so sweet. 9 out of 10. What about you?
I think I'd give it an 8.5, because it wasn't one of my favorite episodes of the season. But again, I'm so impressed with the show, and it makes me so happy every week. And I'm just so grateful. Yeah, I know. It's so we've gotten so many good stuff, and I like that there's nothing off the table for them. There's nothing that's like, no, that's too weird. It's like, no, we're doing all of it.
It's Danny the Street. Man, Danny the Street. I liked how the Doom Patrol comic with Gerard Way, they expanded to Danny the World. Yeah. And that's fun. Yeah. And it's all inside of an ambulance. Like there's parts of that I like, but I do like the idea of just a street.
We're probably gonna get Flex Mentallo at some point.
Oh yeah, Hero of the Beach. Hero of the Beach. It's the best catchphrase you could ever have. Hero of the Beach. Big fan. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments down below. How much do you love Danny? Do you want Danny back ASAP? Because I definitely do. I wouldn't mind if Doom Manor was on Danny Street, so they could go around. Can Danny pick it up?
Probably.
Why not? I did like when it was gone and it left like a little like patch, but also I like the idea that like Danny can leave, can just appear in a city and then be gone, and like, it doesn't matter. Like it just kind of displaces some stuff, or it adds and people don't notice that there's a new street there. That's so cool. It feels like Harry Potter. I really dig it.
It does.
Man, Danny the Street. I don't know why it just gives me such a big smile, but I love it. I love the concept. Let us know what you think in the comments down below, but also check out Might Be Awesome. It's our new channel on YouTube where we do deep dives and reviews in the newest movies, and so much more coming very soon. So make sure you check that out. Also follow it on social media at Might Be Social on Twitter and Instagram, but also Only Stupid Answers on Twitter.
Hey, yank out the vowels from stupid.
At Sam Basher.
At DJ Talks Trash.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and check out patreon.com for the full Super TV Showdown episode. There should be links over there, but also in newest videos, and subscribe for more. I think I said all the little bits and bops I'm supposed to. So gang, we appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.